All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are going to break down a really powerful playbook for anyone who's trying to build things with AI. And look, this isn't about the latest flash-in-the-pan prompt tricks. This is a durable, foundational framework for AI literacy called Think, Build, Prove. If you can master this, you'll be ready for pretty much any AI shift that comes your way. But first, let's talk about a feeling I'm sure we've all had. Okay, let's be real for a second. You're using these incredible, powerful AI tools, but it all feels a bit chaotic, right? You get these wildly inconsistent results, you spend hours tweaking and crafting prompts, and at the end of the day, it's hard to tell if you're actually being more effective or just busier. It's a super common, and let's be honest, a really frustrating experience.
But here is the big insight, the thing you have to get. The problem isn't the AI. It's not about finding some mythical, better tool or the one perfect prompt that unlocks everything. The problem is that we don't have a systematic approach. The problem is our playbook. And it's definitely time for an upgrade.
And that brings us to the very first, and frankly, the most critical part of this entire framework. Think. It is all about defining your purpose before you write a single word of a prompt. And honestly, this is the step that almost everyone skips, and it is the #1 reason why their interactions with AI feel so random and, well, chaotic. So the first discipline in the think phase is problem framing. Before you even dream of opening an AI tool, you have to, and I mean have to, write this sentence. For example, the problem I am solving is unclear user feedback for product managers because our insights are buried across a dozen different tools. You notice anything? This has nothing to do with AI. It's about product clarity. And if that sentence feels weak or fuzzy, you just stop. You're not ready. Next up, we have to get really clear on the difference between an output and an outcome. This is a classic trap. It's so easy to focus on the output, right? Like asking AI to write a product requirements document. But what is the outcome you're actually chasing? Are you trying to reduce the creation time? Or maybe you're trying to improve alignment with your stakeholders? So here's the rule. It's simple. If you can't measure the outcome, you are not ready to use AI for that task. You also need to manage your own expectations. And you do that by classifying the kind of work you're doing. Are you in exploration mode, just brainstorming new ideas? Are you trying to synthesize a whole bunch of messy feedback? Or are you trying to create a perfectly structured document? Each of these tasks requires a totally different behavior from the AI. Matching the task to the AI's strengths is absolutely key if you want to avoid getting disappointing results. This framework also draws a really clear line in the sand about where we, the humans, have to stay in charge. Humans must own the vision, the deep context, the company values, and of course, the final decisions. No exceptions. AI can be an incredible partner for things like ideation or finding patterns in data, for sure. But the second you outsource your core judgment, the quality of your work is going to completely collapse. So once you've actually done that hard think work up front, then, and only then, are you ready for Section 2, Build. This is where we start to execute, but with real intention, and it all starts with a very powerful new way of thinking. This right here, this is the core analogy. You have to stop thinking of AI as some kind of magic box. Instead, I want you to start thinking of it like a junior teammate. Now, this teammate is incredibly fast. They can read and process more information than you ever could. But, and this is a big but, they have zero context, zero real-world experience, and zero judgment. This simple mental shift completely changes your role from just being a passive prompter to being an active manager and a guide. So how do you manage this new junior teammate? Well, you don't just throw random tasks at them, you give them a job. Instead of some vague request, you design a very specific role for the AI. Give it a job title, a clear perspective to adopt, a well-defined scope, and some hard constraints. This is how you go from random outputs to predictable, high-quality work. For instance, just telling the AI, you are acting as a senior product analyst, immediately frames the entire task. It implies that you expect rigor, a focus on data, and a deep understanding of business impact. That is worlds away from a generic prompt like, what are the trends in this data? Or think about this role, a critical UX reviewer. This one command immediately primes the AI to start looking for flaws, to challenge your assumptions, and to evaluate everything from a skeptical, user-focused point of view. You're literally directing its gaze, telling it how to see. Now here's a huge rule in the build phase. For any serious task, there are no single prompt workflows. Period. Real, valuable work is iterative. You have to follow a loop that looks a lot like how great teams think. You clarify the problem, you generate a few options, you critique those options, you improve the best one, and then, always, you apply your final human judgment. AI doesn't replace this loop. It just lets you spin through it at lightning speed. So what this all comes down to is this. We're moving away from these disposable prompt hacks that you see all over the internet, and we're moving toward building reusable workflows. A prompt is temporary, it's a one-off. A workflow is a system. It's a reliable process that consistently delivers quality. This is how you stop chasing trends and start building a real durable capability. All right, and that brings us to our final layer, prove. This is the part that truly separates the professionals from the hobbyists. See, it's not enough to just use AI. You have to be able to prove its impact, and more importantly, learn from the entire experience. At the end of the day, this is the one question you have to be able to answer for every single task you use AI for. What actually changed? Was the work faster? Was the quality better? Did we make a decision with more confidence? Because if the impact is invisible, then the effort was probably a waste of time. And that impact isn't just some vague, fuzzy feeling. It can and should be measured. You can look at really tangible things, like hours saved, a measurable bump in quality, a reduction in the number of revisions you had to do, or even just faster alignment across your team. These are the metrics that actually matter. But here's the catch. To measure that impact, you need a baseline. You have to be disciplined about this. Document how a task was done before AI. How long did it take? How good was the outcome, really? It's only by comparing that before and after that you can build your own personal evidence of what truly works, and you can start to cut through all the hype. All of that evidence you're gathering then feeds into this incredibly powerful learning cycle, a simple weekly reflection where you ask yourself, where did AI help me the most this week? Where did it completely fall flat? What context was it missing? And what part of this can I standardize into a reusable workflow? This is how your gut feeling transforms into a repeatable skill. This is how you compound your learning. So we have think, build, and prove. But when you pull all of this together, you start to see the meta principle here, the real superpower that this playbook unlocks. And it's about something much, much deeper than just the technology itself. So what's the big idea here? What's the real superpower that you're gaining when you actually follow this framework? Look, at the end of the day, this playbook isn't really about AI tools or prompts or hacks. In a way, it's a trick. It's a forcing function for you to get better at problem framing, to develop clearer thinking, to create faster learning loops, and to make stronger decisions. The AI is just the catalyst. The real magic is how it reveals and then amplifies the quality of your own thinking. And that really leads us to our final thought. Using AI effectively isn't really about mastering the tool. It's about mastering your own thinking process. AI is a mirror. It reflects exactly how you frame problems, how you structure your work, and how you make decisions. So the real question you have to leave with is this: what will it reveal about you?